Hey everyone, it's great to see you. Today is Plant Up the Front Urns Day, which is always a fun day for me. We have beautiful mandevilla vines in these giant pink blossoms and a whole bunch of annuals to select to fill in all around them. The first thing we need to do, of course, is move out what's currently in the urns. So last spring in March, I picked up 3 beautiful hellebores for each of these urns. And oh my goodness, they are still gorgeous. This is really my first experience with hellebores, and their flowers they never really shrivel up. They just sort of antique in color. They are still here and looking really good. They've leafed out even more, and these are perennials. So I don't want to get rid of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move them out of the urns and move them into another part of the garden so that come next spring I can have all these beautiful plants in my perennial area. Whew. That was harder than I thought. Those were some very happy hellebores living there, but they now are a very happy wheelbarrow full of hellebores, and they will be fabulous in the garden. So I took a minute to look at how things are going in the urn. Last year I had trouble with 2 years ago, with my mandevilla vine growing its roots down into the drainage hole. So last year I put in landscape fabric and we did the bag in the pot method. And that worked great. Now, come this last spring, I took the bag in the pot out and I just put in new soil. So I took a minute to look. This soil, still fresh from this year, no roots have grown through the landscape fabric. I think that the easiest thing to do for the rest of the season is to use the dirt we have here with landscape fabric. That will ensure that the mandevilla vines do not grow down and block drainage. And then come fall, dump it all out and we'll start again fresh, and I'll go back to the bag in the pot method. So I think that that's the approach I'm taking. We'll see. If it ends up blocking up my drainage hole, I'll be back to the bag in the pot method before we know it. So I have these 2 beautiful vines. These are going to be the centerpiece of our urns here. I'm going to get them in first, and then I'm going to surround them with my many different types of annuals. Now there's already a trellis here, and I'm going to leave this trellis in. This is a pretty tall trellis. I can always add stakes as needed later in the season, but for now, this should do okay. And I'm going to try to just dig down and really situate this as close to the bottom as I can. That looks pretty good. And because of the shape of the urn, I can't put it all the way to the back. The urn sort of scoops out, but I am putting it more towards the back than I am to the front. So I'll probably be able to put some dirt in here and maybe one little plant, but then I'll have the majority of the annuals that I'm putting in up front. And I'm just gonna sort of nestle this in, pack it in. I will need to add more potting soil to this, but I want to get everything situated first before I tackle that. Okay, that looks good. Always hard to get these straight and a very important piece because it's going to look silly otherwise. Not bad. Let me do the other one. So same thing here. I'm just going to sort of dig my hole by hand, which is always a nice thing when you're working with really a nice soft potting medium. We still have some roots in here, but they'll disintegrate over time. This looks good. Okay. There we go. Whew. have a few leaves falling off. It's been very rainy. These are just probably from having a little too much rain. There we go. And let's see how that one looks. Okay, now this is what I'm thinking of for the annuals around here. I'm thinking we want to do something kind of a medium height, and then we want some spillers. So I'm going to go with the New Guinea impatiens. Actually, they're not New Guinea impatiens. I'm going to go with the sunpatiens. So New Guinea impatiens are really for the shade. Sunpatiens can do sun or shade. This does get a lot of shade in early morning, but the hot afternoon sun would take out any New Guineas in here. I tried regular impatiens in here my first year, and they just drooped and looked very, very sad. So these are a very pretty white New Guinea. They call, white sunpatiens. They call this one, oh, it doesn't have a particular name. Just says, oh, classic white. It is a compact, and right in the center, it has a little hint of pink. So it's going to be a nice contrast to my pink here, and I'm just going to put these all around. I'm thinking 4 of them on each will be good. I'm not really going to put these all the way in the back. And some of these desperately need water, so they're going to be very happy to be getting planted. So when you add your annuals in here, it is going to be very important to water them right away afterwards. And these particular ones are pretty root bound here. So usually what you do then is you tear off that little bottom part. You can also just sort of ruffle it up with your hands. That would work too, but I like to actually tear off that part. It encourages some new growth. And that'll be good. Look at how there's the roots coming right through. But these little plants are going to take off now that they have some room to grow. If you don't at least break that up, this circling of the roots, you will have a hard time getting those roots not to keep circling. They sort of get in that habit. So by taking that part off, it's really just telling the roots, okay, you're not stuck in a pot anymore, and spread out. Here are the spillers that we will have. This is Supertunia Tiara Blue. Is that not gorgeous? It has like a white eye, so it gets lighter in the center. This is not a huge Supertunia. This one is only going to get, 4 to 12 inches. So we'll have some of these around the edge. These are going to get taller, and I'm going to plant these at an angle so that they actually droop over the edge. And then we have our beautiful creeping Jenny. You know that I love that. Just adds, look at that color. It is so bright, and it's just gonna fall over. And I'm also going to sort of slant that so that it starts to just pour over the edge. Oh, I love how this looks. I think I might be short one creeping Jenny, but I might have an extra in the backyard. But this is going to be fabulous. With these trailers, I love it, and they're going to be packed in here. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to take them out of the pots, get them nestled in the way I want. Then I'm going to get some more potting mix and sort of make sure that all the spaces are filled in. I'm adding a little of the slow release fertilizer in here. Although, of course, we will make sure we use that water-soluble fertilizer. These urns are going to be blooming all season. It is going to be fabulous, but boy, that water-soluble fertilizer is what's going to keep those flowers coming. In fact, if you notice at any time that you have a lull in flowering, two things to really check. One is going to be, are they getting enough water? Another one, so three things. It's going to be, do you have any aphids or things that are eating your flowers? And then the other is, did you just give it enough food? Because in order to make those blossoms, you do need to make sure you're feeding your annuals. These look fabulous. I'm so excited about this. This is different for me and I love it. Boy, the creeping Jenny, I love how it's spilling over a little. Can you just picture how this is going to fill in and come down? I like that. I think it's still going to show off parts of the urn. Last year I did sweet potato vine. I love sweet potato vine, but it was so wild it really covered everything. I think we're going to get that cascading effect here, but still be able to see some of it. These beautiful sunpatiens will fill in, and I'm probably going to have to stake my mandevilla even higher as it continues to grow. Any one of these plants would be beautiful by your front door. So if you happen to be out and you see a sunpatient, or you see a petunia that you particularly like, or maybe you fall in love with a mandevilla vine, think about this as a possibility for something really welcoming as you greet people at your front door. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.